Welcome, one and all. We are live once again. Welcome to the jungle. We are all gonna die. Maybe not tonight, maybe not during this live stream, but we're all gonna die. Hey, Axl Rose was right about one thing. So I got a new light behind me. I got it turned way down, but I still think it may be a little on the bright side. What does the Peanut Gallery have to say tonight? Besides turn off the banner, right? I'm sure somebody would say that sooner or later. Suppose I should start my little thingamajigger here. Okay, the temperature is going down a little bit in here. I had to turn on the AC before the stream started because it was 79.9 degrees in here with all these lights on. So yeah. Change to blue from white. Okay. Not sure how to do that because I don't have the app for it yet. Not sure what the app is for that particular light. I just got it out of the box and set up, so I've not had a chance to do that. But we got a couple of things to talk about tonight. So the first thing I've got to go on a little bit of a rant, I suppose. You can do it on the light, okay? I don't see anything on there for turning it blue. So I'll have to futz with that later. New light, I'm not worried about it. It'll get better. Yeah. Hello, TVJ. Our house is at 65 degrees right now. Yeah, it has been very still here. So being on the second floor raises the temperature between 5 and 10 degrees generally. And yeah, so I have opted to put the AC on. There's no breeze, so opening windows is going to do me zero good. Yeah, if I knew where to do it on the light, I'd do it on the light. I don't know this light. You're not that late. We're only 7 minutes in, 8 minutes in. Yeah, I've got the AC set to 67 just to cool this room down. Currently at 78.6 right now. So yeah. 24 days, woohoo! It's freezing here in New York, 47 degrees. Yeah. Well, maybe this 73 degree weather we had here today is going to move east and will hit you tomorrow. Just watched an hour-long video about heat pumps. It sounded like our next HVAC system will be heat pump based. Yep. Being on the second floor, I would probably go. I don't know if a mini split is considered a heat pump, but yeah, I am definitely looking at some alternatives to current heating and cooling solutions for longer term, depending on how long I'm in this building. Outside is at 70, and tomorrow is supposed to be 80. Okay, so a couple things to talk about tonight. I have 2 bottles with me tonight. Traverse City Whiskey Cherry and Evan Williams Peach. I have not tasted the peach yet, so that's probably going to be the first pour of the night. It was 85 here today. Here, mini split is a heat pump. Okay, that's what I thought it was, but yeah. All right. So tonight on the agenda, I've got a little monologue, rant, response. I saw a video, and so we'll just get into this. I saw a video where this person's thesis for the video was that Linux is not for everyone. And if he had been specific and said desktop Linux is not for everyone, I would have agreed. End of discussion, right? However, I'm a firm believer and staunch advocate that Linux in various forms can be for everyone, right? So whether it's an Android, which has a Linux derived kernel, Chrome OS, same thing. You can actually run Linux applications on Chrome OS now. Could be a router firmware. Many of those are Linux based. Some of them you can change, some of them you can't. But where I think it's really compelling to have everyone use Linux, whether or not they actually know it or not, is when it comes to appliances. Things from Turnkey Linux, for example, things like Dafile, for example, Proxmox, you could consider that a Linux appliance, because you're not using Linux as far as command line, and you're not using it as far as desktop, but you are using a Linux-based system. So, and there are far more options out there that I'm not even thinking about right now. But when it comes to things like running a media server, so for audio you've got Dafile, you've got Volumio. For video, now granted, you can run some of this software on other operating systems, but Plex, Jellyfin, and MB all can run on Linux, and their minimum system requirements will be lower on Linux compared to other operating systems. So, my point in saying all this is that while I can agree that desktop Linux may not be for everyone, although that's changing every day that goes by, just look at the statistics coming out of India, where Linux is the #2 operating system, beating out Mac OS. And there are a lot of people in India. So, and the one of the German states is switching government systems to Linux. And they are using desktop Linux for that. And, LibreOffice and Nextcloud and other things to make this transition happen. So, I think there are areas where, Linux can be a useful tool for everybody. Granted, the average person may need some help getting it installed, or they may just need to watch a few YouTube videos and learn some new things before they attempt an install. But you know, when there are surplus computers available, you know, where I'm located, we've got Michigan State University's surplus store. You can get a used computer for under $100. They won't run Windows 11. So, you know, if you were running Windows 10 on it, you'd have just over a year to run it before your security updates go the way of the dodo bird. You know, it's one of those things that I think where this particular YouTuber may have gone wrong is in not specifying desktop Linux specifically. Yes, if you watch the whole video, it's kind of obvious once you have full context of what he's talking about. However, if there's one thing that experience has taught me on YouTube is you've got to be grossly specific about things on YouTube because you don't know what frame of reference a viewer is going to be coming from. So that's my rant for the night, my monologue, my annoyance with another piece of content that I ran into. But I wanted to bring that up and get it out there just for the sake of argument and to have something different to talk about tonight to get the stream started. And still, we're only 16, 17 minutes into this thing. So we've got plenty of time to kill. Anyway. The light looks good even as white. All right. Well, once I have a few minutes after the stream, I'll get the app installed for this light and see what I can do when I start playing with it. And I'll try to get it to a bluish color. So anyway, with that out of the way, if you haven't done so already, and I realize there's only 4 of you watching, and that's my fault for only scheduling the stream 30 minutes before it started. But now that I've got the first topic out of the way, I'm going to pour. That definitely has a peach scent to it. We'll test this out and see how the peach is. Definitely has a peach scent to it. Wow. That's pretty smooth. For an $18 whiskey, I'm actually kind of impressed. All right. So Jacob, welcome in. Few things I want to look at tonight. Let me share my screen and we can bounce around a little bit. Put myself up in the corner. Okay, so I got my Proxmox server number 3 back up and running. And that is running this Watch Your LAN. And I did clean out about half of my browser tabs, but I still have a few more I can get rid of. So I've shown this before and just wanted to revisit a little bit. This is just a simple Lexi container running on the smallest of my Proxmox servers. And it's kind of nice to have, just to have a log of what is on the network, something that's always running when the server is actually up. So I'm still going back around and powering a few machines back up after this last power outage about a week ago. And I've still got a few things on the network that are down or have experienced some weird issues since that power outage that I haven't completely been through the troubleshooting process on all of them. So part of my Wi-Fi access points are down, for instance, which does make things a little interesting, shall we say, around here. Because I do have a few things that are smart home type devices. So when the access points go out, then those devices go out as well. But anyway, so this is a handy tool, and part of the reason I wanted to bring this up is because Nmap has released a new version. 7.95 is available now. It is cross-platform, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, or you can compile the source for whatever other operating system you want. And they've added some additional tools to this to Nmap. And I like to keep my version of Nmap as up to date as possible, right? They have not yet updated the news section to reflect it or list the release notes for this. I suppose if we go to the release announcement for the previous one, even that, 7.90 was released in 2019, so that's going on 5 years ago. Nmap.org has been redesigned. So, yeah. We can find changelog. Okay, 7.95. Integrated over 4,000 of your IPv4 OS fingerprints. Added 336 signatures, and the new total being 6,036. Additions include iOS 15 and 16, macOS Ventura and Monterey, Linux 6.1, OpenBSD 7.1, and IW or 1WIP 2.2. I'm not familiar with that. Integrated over 2,500 service version detection fingerprints. So the signature count went up 1.4%. For Windows, upgraded NPCAP to version 1.79, which includes many performance improvements for those Windows people out there. Improvements to OS detection, fingerprint matching, various other things. So, yeah. And it fixed a memory leak. That's always a welcome change. So, yeah, Nmap 7.95. I think I did a community post about that, if I remember correctly, and I did. along with the new version of DAF file, which we'll take a look at that in a moment. I think I did show that off the other night on the last stream, but I do have DAF file up and running. I have been having a little bit of trouble with configuring network. That VM might be down right now. Configuring network storage on this thing. DAF file. That's supposed to be up. It says it's running. Anyway, usually this must be something new in this version, because normally it just, in the console, it just shows the IP address and you would access it with the web browser. So let's see what we can find out here. This mouse is sort of weird with this. Language is fine. Yeah. We don't need logging. What I really want is, there we go, network. That's for remote libraries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to force this to stop. And we'll restart it, and I'll show you what the problem is that I'm having. And we can see if anybody has any ideas on how to work around this. I have not found anything in their documentation, which is basically just a frequently asked questions section, is what their documentation amounts to. So specifically, my problem is getting DAF file to see the music on my NAS. I've tried 2 different NAS boxes, 2 different manufacturers, with SMB3 and with the regular CIFS plugin. And I've also tried to get it to see the music on my Mac Mini with SSH. And none of those actually succeeded. So either there's an issue with this new version, or I'm missing something obvious, which I'm not going to rule out at this point. But unfortunately, as it mentions down here, you can't access DAF file via SSH unless you're running a beta version. So yeah, it's if I've got one complaint about it, that's it. But I'm not the typical. I probably am not the typical user or have the typical use case for this particular software. I'll be the first one to admit that, and I doubt even the developers would argue with me on that statement. So let's jump back to the Proxmox server and we will start this back up. And thankfully it starts up quick. Yeah, I don't remember it starting to this screen in previous versions. Or maybe that was a setting I turned on. That was probably a setting I turned on. So I need to turn that back off. Okay, so because if I've got that option turned on, then it makes it difficult to figure out which IP address that's on. Is that on this machine or this window? No, I don't believe it is. All right, so my issue right now is I need to figure out which IP address that VM is running on. Still have Uptime Kuma going. My Proxmox backup server is down at the moment. So that's something I still need to get turned back on and make sure everything is working properly. Right. Here we go. Okay, so I swear it was on 101. And of course, it doesn't let you sort. If I had a small complaint, that would be it. 103. .101 is showing up as HP. That doesn't help me. That does not help me. Okay, so plan B. I'll go to good old Angry IP Scanner. It's always good to have more than one tool to do what you want it to do. Let's see. Yes, I agree with David. Please, everybody hit like. We are up to 8 people watching this last minute stream that I scheduled. It's all good. And I guess the only ones who have kids here are the 2 Davids. I think you're right. Okay. This is showing 12. Okay, let's sort by IP. And does this give me any wiggle room on font size? Because there's a lot of unused space there. Font could be larger. My eyes aren't getting any younger. Okay, 74101 is DAF file 2405. Okay. Hey, look at that. So, DAF file 2405 is the newest version. Of course, if you had a CD or DVD drive installed, you could rip audio discs to FLAC format I have copied some music over from my network attached storage, one of them, just so I had something on here. But let's go into settings. Settings is where I'm having some issues. So we are going to turn off the local UI. That's going to solve the setting, the problem that I'm having with that crazy interface coming up when I restart the machine. Once I have everything configured, maybe I'll consider turning that back on. But for right now, we'll leave that alone. I'm heading to bed early tonight. We'll watch the rest tomorrow. Have a good night, TVJ. You breaking over the Traverse City tonight too? That's my plan. I figured I'd do one pour of each, and then I'll decide what to do if I do a third pour. I think 2 might do it for me tonight, but you never know. 4 kids and 2 grandchildren. Wow. 2 cats and a wife. That's quite the crew there, David. Quite the crew there. Okay, so we're back into settings. And now if we jump for just a moment, if we jump back over here, you'll see this is what I'm used to seeing. Use the web interface and it gives you the IP address. So for my use case, my main use case, it will probably end up being used just from the web interface. Because I've got Volumio hooked up to the surround system with a digital to analog converter to pump out the music. So this I want, or I normally use just for ripping CDs and, go forward from there. So anyway, what I've been trying to do, and you can see here my attempt to attach with SSHFS to the Mac Mini, and it's not seeing anything there. So in this version, it has added, I guess I can make this a little bit bigger. In this version of the software, maybe I made it too big. Won't scroll anymore. They have added SMB3, which is a separate plugin. I believe that's part of the kernel drivers now. Common Internet File System, or CIFS, which I believe is using Samba. Don't quote me on this. It could be the other way around. I'm not an expert on this stuff. SSHFS is new, and I think WebDAV and Secure WebDAV are new as well. I'd have to go back to the release notes to verify, but yeah, I got to drop that size of that back down. Unfortunately, they don't scale their interface when you use the control or command plus and minus to make it larger or smaller. My apologies if that's too small for people. So if I say save and restart, it's going to clear out that existing entry. And I got stuck on this issue for a while this afternoon. I was hoping actually to record a video specifically talking about DAW file because I haven't done one in a couple of years. And since they had a new release, the older videos are seeing some new views, and I want to do a new video to get the new views. Okay, so if we go back to settings, storage, network drive, add new. So we'll start with common internet file system. So user at server, port is optional. Oh, maybe the user is optional too. That is, so what if we just do 99? I've got an idea. Okay, so what if we do, what's on the other tab here? Got an idea. Other sign-in methods. Sometimes I really hate this thing. Use approve sign-in. Open secure sign-in and tap approve. Do I even have that app? They're just, they make this more difficult than it needs to be. All right. Assuming it's that one. Sign into your Synology account. Maybe I won't be able to do this. Yes. Next. Yeah, that's, let me in earlier and it was fine. And yeah, why it's doing this all of a sudden now, I don't know. All right, so we'll skip that one. We'll come over here and we'll do, I'm just curious. So users, we're going to create a user. And we are going to call the user DAW file with no password, just because I'm doing a test. It won't let me do that. If we take read write away, because all I want to do is give it read-only access to multimedia and public. No. I guarantee that's not a strong password, but for a temporary user, it's going to let me troubleshoot a little bit. It's going to let me troubleshoot a little bit. Okay, so we'll minimize that for the moment. So what I want to do on here, I want to look at File Station. And the folder I want is multimedia/DAW file. So we're going to do DAW file at do that. And we're going to call this QNAP just for the sake of argument. Let's see if this actually surprises me and works. If it does, then I'll have to change that password later. There are no audio devices. Just fail and go past it. It might actually be doing something. We can narrow it down a little bit. A new version of Wireshark is available too, or at least I haven't updated mine. Remind me later. Capture on EN0. So what do I want to say? Source. Is that not it? Okay, so we should at some point be seeing traffic between 55 and 101. And I am not actually seeing that. I'm seeing between 100, which is my Mac Mini, and 101, but not 55 and 101. That's perplexing, I guess. Okay, we have an interface back. My music folder. Other drive still cannot be open. Music folder has a lock icon on it. That tells me it's doing something. Whether it's rescanning or what, I'm not entirely sure. These are the albums that I copied over, so those are on internal storage. It is still not showing my network drive. And I know I've got the right password in it. I know the path is correct, because that matches multimedia DAW file. I can verify that by going to multimedia and DAW file from the Mac, and I've got all kinds of extra music on there, which, granted, it may be taking its sweet time scanning all that music, right? So we're gonna table this for the moment. I'm gonna take a drink. Cheers. I have to hand it to Evan Williams. For Okay. You're going to look at me for a minute because I'm not going to show you my full date of birth. Okay. Now I can put it back up here. Evan Williams, Bourbon done right. So I'm going to turn that off. Lead our family of Kentucky straight bourbons. Yeah. Kentucky Mule, Horse's Neck, Peaches and Cream. Ooh, get the recipe. Oh, 2 ounces Evan Williams peach, 1 ounce vanilla vodka. Fortunately, I don't have any flavored vodka. Well, now I've got something to add to my shopping list. Yeah, that doesn't sound half bad. So Evan Williams in 1873 or 1783, I guess I'm dyslexic tonight. He founded Kentucky's first commercial distillery on the banks of the Ohio River. Interesting. So I swear somewhere I read that the standard issue Evan Williams bourbon is sold as the mass market black label variety. The company also bottles several other varieties, including a white label that is bottled in bond, and Evan Williams 1783 bourbon produced in more limited quantities, and a 7 to 8 year single barrel. So somewhere I read that this is from the same brewery or same family of breweries as some of the other higher end whiskeys. New York Times wrote that popular brands such as Elijah Craig and Evan Williams were actually created by Jewish distillers adept in marketing. The Shapira brothers were co-founders of Heaven Hill, the company that acquired Evan Williams. Blah, blah, blah. Name Evan Williams was patented in the 60s. So, yeah. Apparently there are some higher end whiskeys and bourbons that they make. But yeah, anyway, I have to say for a lower tier price wise whiskey, this is pretty good. And this one is actually, it's 65 proof. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey blended with peach liqueur and caramel color. I have to say I'm digging this. I'm digging it. Let's see. David says also a day job, 2 side hustles, and a partridge in a pear tree. Yes, cheers. January 2nd, 1945. Right. Better than Crown Royal. I think I like this better than the vanilla Crown Royal. I've not had other flavors of Crown Royal. So, good night, David. All right. So we are almost an hour in. So we will table the DAF file thing for a little while, and we'll go on to our next take one last look at this. It still has the lock on the music folder. So I suspect once the lock is gone, there will be a folder on the same level as music, but there will be a folder that says Nmap, because that's what we configured the storage. That's what we configured the share to be called, is Nmap. So we'll move on to our second topic and circle back around to this a little later. Probably should have given this more than four cores and 4 gigs of RAM. Anyway, a little too late for that now. So what we're going to do, and I don't know how well it's going to run in a VM, but we are going to take a look at Tuxedo OS 3. And this is another new release, Tuxedo OS 3. We're going to do QEMU agent. We're going to give it, I don't know, 55 gigs. We're going to give it 8 CPUs and 8 gigs of RAM. And we are going to go ahead and see about installing this. Now, for those who haven't seen the video that I did on Tuxedo OS before, Tuxedo OS is the OS from Tuxedo Computers. They do have a GeForce NVIDIA specific version of the installer. So we'll see what this does with the specs that I've given this VM. Not expecting a lot, but yeah, there it goes. So Tuxedo is a company, I believe, out of Germany, but don't quote me on that. It's out of Europe somewhere. They have a line of Linux computers, sell a bunch of laptops with Linux preloaded. Tuxedo OS is one of their options. So tuxedocomputers.com, and I'll throw this in the chat. Not that anybody's going to go out and buy one of their higher end laptops or anything, but if you do, please tell them to give me a cut. Do you feel your pulse rising? AMD Ryzen 7. So yeah, they have several machines. Some of these are more gaming oriented. We'll choose 15 to 16 inch. And we'll say AMD CPU, and we'll look at what they've got down here. So you're looking at 1,700 euros and whatever that costs to when translated to US dollars. If they were smart, they would let you do US dollars for pricing, but hey, it's all good. So this has a RTX 4080, 4090 option. Yeah, so these are going to be pretty robust machines. 2560 by 1600 display at 240 hertz. Let's see what this would cost if we did 4760. I don't know what that is. I think it's the 4060, or that might be the 4070. Probably the 4070. Add 350 euros. Might as well. Might as well. RAM. Sure. Let's max it out at 96 gigs. Might as well. Sure. Let's do a 4 terabyte NVMe. The secondary, we'll put a second 4 terabyte in there. Intel Wi-Fi is fine. So you've got your choice on here. You've got Tuxedo OS, Ubuntu 2204, Kubuntu 2204, or Ubuntu Budgie 2204. They have not updated to 2404 yet. You can also have them installed with the drives encrypted. You can get it with and without warranty. Well, 2-year warranty is standard. You can get up to a 5-year warranty for another 350 euros. Change to US power. Chassis logo is the Tuxedo logo. Assemble time within 2 weeks. And yeah, you're looking at 3,000 euros basically. And I know what some of you are saying. At that price, you could buy a MacBook Pro. Yes, you could. And this would probably run circles around the MacBook Pro you would get at the same price. The difference is going to be the variety of software you can use on it. All right, let me take a look at the peanut gallery. Better than the Jim Beam. Yes, absolutely. Alonzo, welcome. NBA playoff night. Just noticed your live stream. Yeah, I don't really pay much attention to sport ball. Never really have. Yes, if you haven't liked the stream, please do. That'd be great. Does Tuxedo make the computers themselves? No, and neither does HP or Dell really. They all use a few OEMs that they take their base designs and customize. I think Lenovo is the only exception to this rule, and I'm not 100% sure on that on some of their machines. But most of the laptops, the PC laptops, come from a design that originated with either Clevo or ProStar, I believe. They all use Foxconn. Framework does do their own design. I mean, they've got partners that, help do validation and everything, but they've got to have a custom board to allow the upgradability that they have built into their whole idea of what framework is. So let's see if hey, look at this. We do not want to be in German. How about American English? That looks better. All right, New York, I guess that's fine. Usually I get pedantic and change it to Detroit just because. X11 is the current technical platform for graphical interface in Tuxedo OS. Just for shits and grins, let's try it. Let's try it. Worst case, it crashes. Some of these vendor specific or semi-vendor specific operating systems don't play nice in a VM. So all right, so we've made it to the desktop. Enter edit mode. Ooh. Alignment, center, position, adaptive, yeah, let's do adaptive. Okay. All right, let's see what the install will do for us. Or are we already installed? No. Okay. No swap is fine. All right. And now we wait. So let's see. See if anything has changed over here. Still have the lock on there. So we'll I guess we'll continue to monitor this. We've got until the end of the stream. And if it doesn't finish by then I'll see what it's like in the morning before I go to work. Yep, I like that peach. Yeah, I like that peach. All right, so all that's copying. I'll just go full screen again. What did you do this weekend? Well, I spent a good chunk of time cleaning, getting a few things caught up here, which I know makes me sound like a broken record or a skipping CD or a glitchy online music service. Whatever the 21st century version of that analogy is, I suppose. Yeah, I spent a good chunk of time doing some cleaning, getting some stuff moved around. If you notice on my shelf over here, I cleaned off the top shelf and I moved books over there. And that was part of my work in the office. I got gaffer's tape down on the floor so I can actually move my softbox and the camera around, because the tripods where they are, they prohibit my access around the desk. So I got I took the ring light out. I took the TV and TV stand out because the way I've got the room laid out, I don't have room behind me to put the TV. Yeah, I also did some cleaning and organizing in my kitchen, which was probably overdue. And did some laundry. So just basically hung around at home. I've been in the apartment since I got home from work on Friday night after getting groceries. And I've just been pushing to get some things caught up before the really hot weather hits. And I won't want to be in the part of the apartment that has no air conditioning, right? I do not have central air, so I've got to be a little bit deliberate about how I do some things. Otherwise, it's going to be, getting up at 5 a.m, so it's still cool in the other part of the apartment, to allow me to do some of this stuff. I also, I'll load it up here. I also picked up a new game, all of $7, which is about what I can afford at the moment. Since I bought this light here, priorities, right? So I picked up this game, and I guess I'll throw this on here, and I'll probably get killed fairly quick doing this, but this is a game called Death Must Die. Similar in vein to Vampire Survivors, with a little bit of a twist. It's technically an early access game, but it's got a very similar play factor when it comes down to it. So anyway, sure, let's do rotating blades. But yeah, so I've spent a couple of hours playing this. I'm not terribly far into it. I haven't built my character up that far, so it's just a lot of repetitive stuff at the beginning, so that you can build the character up, get new weapons, and all that fun stuff. This does run native on Apple Silicon, and as well as the Steam Deck, and of course Windows systems, because everything runs on Windows, right? So yeah. But anyways, you get the basic idea. I do like the artwork, Mort, the daughter of death. So yeah, deadly attack level 1 sounds good. But anyway, it's so far it's a fun game, and I'm enjoying my time playing it, and it just kind of allows me to reset and oh, there we go. I like that. Ooh, Nin or Neen, goddess of earth. Right. Sure, let's do rock shield. Sure, let's go to level 3 on those. Anyway, for $7, I'm very impressed with the gameplay and the graphics and the fact that it runs on such a variety of platforms. And it doesn't require a hell of a lot of thought and strategy to be able to play it. Yes, increase my life. So, that's the story of my weekend, I guess, in a nutshell. Um, I've been following your journey ever since your first steps on my train, mortal. Many have taken this quest, yet few have shown such tenacity. You try again and again and never waver. Continue your effort. Okay, what do we have here? Rock shield. Yes, that sounds like a good thing to increase. Ah. So yeah. I am very close to death, which is all right since we're live streaming and you can't hear the audio of the game anyways, because if I'd set that up, then you lose my commentary track. Deadly attack goes level 2. Oh, what the hell? Let's do this one. I really need to find somewhere to get some more life. And I died. All right. Anyway. So we're ready to restart our Tuxedo OS install. And with a little luck, it'll fire right up. I have not played with a KDE Plasma based distribution in quite a while. So this is kind of nice to get back to my roots. So I don't know, Tuxedo Control Center. Let's see what that offers us. CPU frequency, blah, blah, blah. So I suspect that's more for their machines specifically. System Info Center. Let's try that. So we are, this is KDE Plasma 6.0.4 with Frameworks version 6.1. Kernel 6.5. It does recognize QEMU. 8 gigs of RAM, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this isn't doing too bad. Using 1.7 gigs of RAM. Little heavier than some other things that I've tried out. Not awful. 60% of the CPU. That's a little heavier when you're talking 8 cores, but not as bad as some things I've seen. So yeah, this isn't bad looking. I like that little effect where the taskbar type thing goes down to the bottom of the screen when you put a window behind it. What do we got for snapping options? Yeah, that'll work. Dolphin is what I would expect. So yeah, it's I'm sure it's going to see many of the things I've got on my network. Data file 2405. Could not access host for SMB. Interesting. Interesting. Let's try this again. And KIO worker closed unexpectedly, and it's not restarting. That's not terribly helpful. Okay. Let's do updates and see what we can do from here. There are a few updates. We'll restart it and we'll see if anything changes. While that's working, we can jump down here to DAF file. Still have a lock. Unable to connect to back end. That's interesting. Oh, that is interesting. Wow, did I crash DAF file? Something's not happy. Apparently I'm working it too hard. Okay, so let's try installing Crusader. Sure. Fine. Just load up the file manager. Okay, so at least now I've got a file manager that's working. Error, protocol not supported by Crusader. Interesting. Yeah, something's really not happy right now. Okay, so let's restart it. Maybe this in part explains our issue with DAF file. Maybe we'll have to restart that as well. Nah, it's still not happy. Huh. I've never seen it do that before. Process for the SMB protocol died unexpectedly. That's not encouraging. That is not encouraging. Okay, let's come back over here. Wow, that's crashed hard. So number 2, DAF file. I really hate to do this, but I'll force it off and restart it. And see what happens. Still not liking it. It's up, or at least connected to the network anyways. Very interesting. Well, that doesn't leave me in a good spot when Tuxedo OS is having issues and DAF file is having issues. Yep, that's something's not right here. I have not seen this kind of issue in a Linux OS in ages. So what do we have? Oh, just for grins. Home Assistant. That's demo server. This desktop. Oh, this is Lubuntu. Okay, let's quit that. Let's come here to their file manager. Yeah, I can access. Yeah, there's stuff there. Lord Nikon, multimedia, DAF file. Yeah, so I mean, Jesus built my hot rod. This was before his work as a prophet, you know. Okay. Time to crack open the new bottle of Traverse City whiskey. Oh, that's more of a pour than I wanted, but hey, it's all good. Oh, good. It's down to 72 degrees in here. Or 72.7 actually. Okay. What does the week look like? Tomorrow is my short day. They keep flip-flopping it which day I'm having a short day. So tomorrow's my short day. I work until 2:00, and then I get to come home and try to reach out to my old boss, talk about an opportunity, which I think I know what I need to do with that. But anyways, the rest of the week I'm doing my normal shifts. Monday through Friday, it's a living, if you can call it that. That's why I'm streaming so doggone much for all you fine people. DAF file. That's showing as on 101. Cannot connect to the web interface. Well, that's an issue. That's an issue. So if we go to Lubuntu here, will that let me connect to DAF file? Go figure. Connect anonymously. Okay, so this tells me that DAF file is in fact up and running. Maybe it's the web interface that's crashed, but the backend services are running because I can see this stuff here. Do I have this? Oh, Coverdale page. Gotcha. Interesting. I'm inclined to just let that run until morning. Alternative.net. What was that? Oh, yeah, that was a short I made. Almay back upper. Yeah, that's one of my old videos. Okay. So interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, Lord Nikon has all kinds of things on here. The Toy is a classic movie. If you've never seen The Toy, it's got Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason in it. So yeah, definitely Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke. It's all good. Hadn't seen the show since you and the chair block it. Yeah, I know. My thought is that on some of these videos, when I do and when I roll the music and stuff prior to coming on screen, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have the shot showing the logo and the shelf, and then I'll come in and sit down in the chair instead of putting up the starting soon graphic. That's my thought process, and my plan is to put a couple of the classic computers on that shelf, on the other shelves below the books, and just make it a conversation piece, I guess. Your shot is looking great. Good to hear. Light strip is lighting by the bottles. Yeah. And the light behind you is lighting the wall, so it doesn't look like you're sitting in the dark. Yep. I do not play any type of PC games or console. Wow. My sons play and several coworkers. I use VMware Workstation Pro for my Linux boxes. Plan to use my Mini NUC PC for Proxmox. Nice. I am not a city employee. I am a library employee. The library is separate entity from the city. They split off from the city the year before I started at the library. I don't know. The peach is actually a little more of a smooth whiskey than even the cherry. And I really like the cherry, but I don't know. Tony might make a convert out of me into the peach side of things. All right, let's check this one more time just to see if it's gonna. No, it really doesn't like me tonight. Huh. Really doesn't like me tonight. That's strange. When I can access it from Linux. And it shows the music that I copied directly on it. It's perplexing. But if I can figure it out, then I can make a video about it. Because the last video I did on DAW file, I did look up and review the video a little bit. The last video I did last couple videos I've done on DAW file, I've basically set it up with the express purpose of ripping CDs. So I did not attach extra storage to it over the network anyways. And so this will be some new territory for me. But I've already, and that probably has all sorts of glare. I've already started specking out what this new video is going to cover. I just had to get the whiteboard someplace I could use it. How does the library get funds? So our service area covers the city and 2 townships, and so we get a cut of property taxes from all 3 entities. There's also state funding that comes to us, although our funding has been cut for the next fiscal year. They just decided to tell us. Of course, they tell us that after we, did budget stuff at the beginning of the year for the next fiscal. So it's going to be interesting. We've got a bond on the ballot in August to do a $6.5 million renovation project on our existing building and get a bunch of new equipment and new fixtures, and it's basically gutting this building down to 4 walls and a roof and retrofitting the inside with all new amenities, right? So if the bond passes in August, it will probably be about a year from the time that we know that the bond has passed until the time we move out of the library. And the reason for that is that because of the lessons learned from the COVID era, our building partner, the construction partner that we've got, wants to have all of the materials ordered before any of the construction starts. Now, they won't have all the materials in hand or, on site, but they will have stuff ordered. And then by the time we move out of the building, they will be able to pretty much get started on demo pretty quick. So that would likely be, September, October 2025. Hopefully everything goes the way we're planning it. If it doesn't, then, that just makes even more clear my decision of whether to stay or to go, and when the timeline might be for me to leave. So I guess that's the long and the short of that whole scenario. But yeah, I'm in regroup and reassess mode right now on what I want to do for work for the rest of my career. And yeah, I'm not convinced that the library is going to be the place I work until retirement. So, and since I'm not getting any younger and ageism is a thing in the IT field, I somewhere in the next year and a half, I need to make a move. I need to seriously consider making a move. So thankfully, I've got a number of people that I've met through YouTube that have graciously offered to review my resume and give me pointers and help me craft it to be more competitive than what my resume currently is. And then I can, spend the summer months refreshing a few skills and, getting prepped for a bigger push to find a better paying job. Because I hope to leverage the fact that I've got 620 odd videos right now published on YouTube, not counting this live stream yet, and I hope that there is some evidence in 600 videos that that I've got some skills that somebody might want to employ me for. Can you support the funeral home software specialized in funeral home business? No, because I've never actually used any funeral home specific software. I had early in my career, I had this idea that, it would be a no-brainer for me to, build a consulting career off from, offering services to funeral homes across, the a chunk of the state, like the Tri-County area, for instance, or whatever. But since my father was far enough in his career and he never wanted to invest the money in the rather high-priced funeral home software that's out there, none of it's really that great anyways. He always used Microsoft Office and, built a bunch of templates that he used and things of that nature. And it just never materialized to do that. Now, if he'd had a particular software package that I could have learned, because it would have been a necessity for me to learn it to be able to solve his problems, because the support for these companies all suck. I could have potentially built a consulting career out of that, or at least for a period of time. But that just wasn't in the cards, so to speak. Kind of a dying market. Yeah, well, people are going to keep on dying, but unfortunately, the era of family-owned funeral homes is dying. Frankly, you are seeing more and more family-owned funeral homes sell out to these large conglomerate companies or groups of companies. And when they do that, the service goes down the toilet, and you know, because they production line everything. Blame Henry Ford for that ultimately, but they really do production line everything from the embalming to the makeup to offering cookie cutter deals on services, and it is what it is. So but anyways, I did talk with my dad last night, and he has opted to take a settlement for the garage. And so with the settlement money, he will be having it tore down. And at some point, this building that I'm living in is going to be put up for sale. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. I may have my hand forced on where I'm going to be living sooner than I think, and that may very well push my job change up sooner than I think. So we'll see how this pans out. So anyway, I guess we've covered what I wanted to cover. A Tuxedo OS was kind of a bust. DAF file was kind of a bust, or at least not working the way I want it to work. I will get to the bottom of the problem some way, even if I have to end up reinstalling it. I will figure out what the heck is going on, and at least determine whether I can reproduce the problem. So, but yeah. My friend runs a funeral home. We get the friends and family book and not the business prices. Yeah. My father was very generous over the years, offering friends and family discounts on things, and, giving people merchandise and things at, a much more modest markup than what he would charge people he didn't know. The problem was that sometimes, because he's a bit of a religious person, and more power to you if you are, but I'm not. Since he's a bit of a religious person, he has given in to some of these I don't know if you call it a calling or urge by the church or whatever, but he's cut people deals when he shouldn't have, to the detriment of his own ability to live a comfortable life. And I think that's in part why he took the settlement on this garage instead of having it rebuilt. It was because his two locations were both in small towns. It was especially in the early 80s, it was kind of a feast or famine type of situation. If people weren't dying and they weren't buying more than base services, then it had an impact on how much food we had in the pantry, right? So growing up in that environment, I've had a much different look on death than most people do, much to the discomfort of some of my friends, because I don't share their same views on it, seeing it my whole life. So it is what it is, and that's that, I guess. So anyways, let's see. You would have thought that COVID would have been a booming time for the funeral homes. Why didn't it? Well, because more people were opting for cremation, and one of basically the pandemic put my father out of business, and I'm not going to go into it any deeper than that, but there's more to it. There are things that he fumbled on his own that could have been avoided, and he could have stayed in business longer. But he also admitted to himself that he was getting to the age where he just couldn't do the work to the level that he had been doing it, and used it basically as an excuse to get out. So, and there were other issues with the state also rolling out more inspections and things that when he was first licensed back in the 60s, they didn't have. They also pushed during the latter years of his career, they pushed a bunch of online stuff that he probably didn't read the emails on and get the information he needed. And then when he asked me to help him with, I couldn't help him because I didn't have any context for it. State computer systems suck. I'm sure it's not just Michigan. They all suck. But when you're supposed to go online to renew your license, and the online system can't pull up your license information, there's a problem. And it came down to be a matter of, okay, you've got to make a phone call and you've got to get to the bottom of this. I can't do that for you. End of discussion. And he just chose to let his license expire, and that was that. And he's, as far as I know, officially out of business. Other than maybe selling a few cemetery monuments and things, which doesn't require licensing in the state of Michigan. You know, it's as far as funeral services themselves, he is done, which at 78 years of age, he deserves to be done. He worked for over 50 years, and you know, that's that. It's he had a good run, and you know, it's time for him to enjoy retirement to whatever level he wants and go from there. Yeah, he had toyed with that, but he just his retirement is tied up in selling the two locations, and so that's what I guess he's looking to do. I wish he would have kept them running. I wish he would have sold 5 years ago before the pandemic, like I had urged him to, but he didn't. And it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I can do about that. Um, yeah, it's not the way I wanted to see everything go down. I would have rather have seen him sell the two locations and, you know, take the money and run, as the Steve Miller song says. But you know, he's a stubborn man, and he does things his own way, and yeah, I beyond that, I got nothing. I got nothing. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, he's saved. He is saved. I think he's got more than what he's ever told me about. But um, you know, he's also keeping the lights on in several buildings and things, and um, you know, if he can part with those buildings and just keep his house, then he'll be much better off in the long run. Plus, he'll have money coming in from whoever he sells the buildings to. I mean, this building that I'm in right now, he's going to sell as a fixer upper. And I question how much money he'll get out of it, but it's an old building. It's over 100 years old. It's been added on to multiple times over the years, and not always by the most skilled of um, builders, shall we say. So keep the building you live in and remodel for renters. Yeah, that's I don't know. It would be a large investment to get this building up to snuff where you could rent it. Um, it would take some work because there are roof issues, there are other issues from the storm last August, and there are electrical issues on the first floor. It also doesn't help that the electrical for the apartment and for the main business space, they were never separated. So, um, yeah, it's kind of a mess of a building. It basically need to be rewired. It should probably be replumbed. A new roof. It needs new windows on the first floor and part of the second floor. And in the process, they should probably have the HVAC system changed for the second floor so that it's using heat pumps, doing mini splits in a couple different zones, I guess you'd call them, of the apartment, to make it more livable for renters. The first floor could be potentially used. I mean, it's zone commercial, so it's got the potential for being used as like a studio space. There are several things that could be done, but it's all going to come down to the investment that can be put together to make it happen. Yes, I live here currently. So I've just got renter's insurance on the apartment. So he owns the building. He had me move in here for the security of the business location when it was an operating business. So my time here is probably going to be limited because once he gets to the point where he wants to sell, then I got to move. What you're explaining is a gut job. Yes. And for the price it would take to gut this and retrofit all the things that need to be retrofitted, it would be cheaper to tear it down and put up a new building. Brass tacks. Or it would be approximately the same price, but it would make more sense to tear this down and put up a new building. It's not the most desirable of areas. I mean, it's a village. It's not like it's a big city. It's I guess you could describe it as a bedroom community or it's at one corner of the outside of the city limits of our capital city in Michigan here. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up. It's been 2 hours and 8 minutes. If you've got some other pressing topics you want me to riff on, then I can keep going for a little while longer. But no more than 11:30. No longer than 11:30. So, yeah, I had really hoped to get this DAF file video recorded this afternoon, but I got stuck on the network stuff. And maybe it's going to be a matter of doing 2 videos, and one of them shows the install and basic look around the interface. And the second one, once I figure out the issue, will be getting the network stuff set up, the network shares set up to attach it to the NAS. So, yeah, I think there's enough content there to make 2 videos, but I'd really hoped to do like one 25-minute video and be done with it, but it doesn't seem to be panning out that way. So anyway, what does everybody else have going on for the week? Is there any big project you've got coming up? I know, Joe, you've got the Yale gig Tuesdays or Mondays and Wednesdays and whatnot, and everything, but it'd be interesting. Let's see. Ended up renting a Teradek Bolt 6 for a job next week. You might find it interesting. I have no idea what that is. A Teradek Bolt 6. 6 gigahertz, 0 delay wireless video. Oh, that sounds interesting. Is there going to be a video on Streaming CT about this equipment? Maybe Streaming CT needs to do a live stream on Tuesday night. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I would ask your father to give you the building and get a small loan to build out the first floor and get monthly income. Yeah, I've thought about that. I have thought about that. The big thing right now is getting this garage tore down, and then I think getting the place reassessed would be a good next step, because without that garage, the property is not worth as much, and yeah, it'd be a thing. Hoping for U Green to release the 8-bay NAS. Nice. Yes, you should do a video. I acquired 5 Intel NUC to learn Proxmox and carve out storage on my QNAP. Nice. I'd be very interested to hear how that goes. That sounds like an interesting project. The unit I rented can do 0 latency, video up to 750 feet. They make a 5,000 foot model. Wow. So the better part of a mile, not a mile, but better part of a mile. Yeah, 5,000 shy 280 feet of being a mile. That's what I thought it was, but I thought I better look it up just to be sure before I open my big mouth on how many feet was in a mile. Use case is a roaming cam around an event piped into the screens at a venue. Okay. That's interesting. It's interesting. I would love to know more. It's way outside my budget at the moment, but yeah. Even the Bolt 6 LT is outside my budget right now, starting at $2,790. That I'm interested to learn more though. If I had a use case for it, then pair your transmitter with unlimited receivers in broadcast mode. So does this work in conjunction with your Mr. Net thing, or is this something completely separate, I guess? Ever used lensrentals.com? No, I have not. I've heard of them. But I've never used them. I think this was the place that somebody had recommended to me a few years back, and that they also sell off some of their lenses at a reduced price once they've been used for a period of time. But they do have Sony lenses as well. That could be interesting. I just have to figure out a use case to actually go ahead and do it. What else do they have? Other video. They do lighting rentals as well. Calibrate color checker. Interesting. And drones even. Well, they've got black magic stuff too. That could be interesting for a larger project, I suppose. If I knew I was going to do something special, but I think right now I'm pretty happy with what I've got with the light, the softbox, the Sony camera, the microphone. The audio stuff is good. The switcher is good. The lighting is about right now. And yeah, I mean, I guess I've just got to figure out where I need to go next. And I think what I want to do is, now that I've got the equipment to the point that I'm good, I need to start making some serious content and making some more money through the videos, which means finishing that course, of course. Pretty cool if you ever want to try before you buy. We use the site. We use the site of it's some we will only use once or twice a year. Oh, if it's something we'll only use once or twice a year. Separate from Mr. Net and bonding. Think of it as closer. Okay, gotcha. Can you split the property? The garage is separate from the building. I don't know, because I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. It's possible, I suppose. The problem is going to be that the neighbors still have a bunch of old large trees. And until those trees get taken down, it's always going to be a possibility that some tornado or high winds could come through and take down more of their trees. And I think people would be reluctant to buy this property. Use case for you would be if you were taking a trip and wanted a good camera and lens for still photography, can rent what you need for the trip. Yeah, I mean, I've got my Pentax and I really love that camera. And that's what I use for still photography. They rent almost anything in the video space. They have Blackmagic switchers. On the course topic, your setup is so damn good now. I don't know how much better we can get your room in person. Yeah, well, then I still hope you guys would consider coming out and visiting, and we can just, make it a long weekend and go to fun museums and other destination spots while you're here. Because, I mean, how many times do you guys really get to Michigan? We may convert to a visit instead of lugging all the gear there. No, that you look good. Yep, Pentax is still around. Well, I got this camera when I graduated and got when I finished my master's degree. Instead of flying to Texas for the graduation ceremony, since nobody in my family was going to go watch me walk across the stage, I bought myself a nice camera. So, yeah. Make a deal with the neighbor to split the cost to remove the trees. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The trees are all on their property. That's the problem. But the trees are a liability for this property, which is the other problem. It's not. It's in the other room. But I think I purchased it from Amazon. Okay, so where did I get that from? Did I order it from Adorama? I may have. It's the Pentax K5. And now, granted, I bought this in 2012, so they still have specs up for this. So the specs on this. Blah, blah, blah. At the time, for the budget I had, I liked the specs better than the equivalent Canon or Nikon. So I'll just say that. And it feels really good in my hand. So, anyways. Yep. Ricoh does a lot more than just printers, so. Ricoh has a cool point and shoot camera for street photography. So at some point I had found my 2 memory cards. Where I stuck them, I'm not sure. I had them in here. I'm sure I put them somewhere. Anyways, I have not been out in a while with the Pentax, but produces some real nice photos when I do get out with it. And I'm kind of itching to go back out. So, I never did put my fingers on where I stuck those photos that I know I've got. Excuse me. PEF file is the raw format for Pentax. So what I really need to do is search for PEF files and see if I've got these somewhere on here. It doesn't look like I've got them on that. See if they're on Lord Nikon. Doesn't appear they are. So we'll look at Zero Cool. I swear I've got these. There are a couple of photos in particular that I was really quite happy with the way they turned out, but Um, hmm. Yeah, I don't know what I've done with them. It's not going to be on that. Um, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be on this one either. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Somewhere I've got those photos. I think it was 2019, before COVID, unfortunately. Would be a good excuse to walk, nature walk with the camera. Yeah. So next, have a photo manager app like Lightroom. Yes. So there are a few. There is Darktable, which functionally is very similar to Lightroom. There is there are several. I know there are several. I'm just not coming up with them off the top of my head right now. Let's see. We want specifically for Linux. There's Darktable, which is the first one that came to mind. There's Raw Therapy. There is Digicam. There is Corel Aftershot Pro. If you want to go commercial software. There's Ansel, which I've never actually heard of before. Windows and Linux. Art. I'm not sure if that's a derivative of Raw Therapy. Ton Photos. I have never heard of that one either. A photo tool. Never heard of that one. That's discontinued. That's just an image gallery. That's discontinued. That's discontinued. That's just a photo album. So yeah, I think the closest one that I'm aware of is Darktable. I'd love to see a video on Darktable. That can probably be arranged. Let me go capture some new photos with the Pentax and then we can talk. However, I'm not a professional photographer. I'll say that up front. And I'm not an expert on Darktable because I don't run it every day. But I will say that Darktable does, in fact, run on Windows and Mac OS in addition to Linux, and it's got a native Apple Silicon version. So but yeah. Joe, when is the last week for your Yale gig, out of curiosity? Because I still want to get Ashley on and looking at that software that we had discussed before, but want to wait until after your Yale thing is done, so there's a little less on both of your respective plates. Last week of May. Okay, so if I propose some dates in June sometime, then that might work. All right, just kind of trying to plan ahead a little bit. Okay, it's been 2.5 hours. I think I'm going to let everybody go for the night. And yeah, I don't think I don't have Darktable on the Mac at the moment. So it might be something that I play with the Mac version and then I do the demo on the Linux version, or at least start the demo on the Linux version, go back and forth a little bit, I guess. But yeah, this has been kind of fun. It didn't exactly go the way I planned, which seems to be the case more often than not lately, all things considered. But that still doesn't want to load. Still doesn't want to load. So I may, before I go to bed tonight, I may do another quick VM install of DAV file, just to test it out. And worst case scenario, I've got a couple of HP mini 1 liter machines, whatever you call those, that I could always load a DAV file tomorrow night when I get home from work. So at least one of them. So on that note, I'll go full screen again. On that note, I'm going to let everybody go so I can get some lights turned off and make sure that I've got stuff I need for work ready. And I will probably be dropping into bed. And we'll be back and doing this again on Wednesday night. And hopefully by then I might have some more DAV file news or a video published. And we can push forward from there. So if anybody has any ideas for topics for Wednesday night, feel free to contact me. You guys all know how. Have a good night. I'll see you next time.